Well, Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur have noticed something very, very interesting. And that is that now there is really this truly sort of the, the, the simmering is starting to come to a low boil. As they're starting to realize, wait a second, without there being almost anything in society that really is encouraging young people to agree to the rules, what advantage is it to agree to the rules? They're seeing that. My father once pointing out, he goes, no, order in society is just everyone agreeing to the rules. And so something I started just really having to think about more and more was like, yeah, this is because of something on the Whatever podcast where this woman's debating one of these guys, and the guy had to point out how law and it's really that he was pointing out something that, for those of us who, we're the Stefan Molyneux, we're graduates of the Stefan Molyneux Academy. We knew what he was referring to when he said law is force, and the government has to use law, so therefore the government has a monopoly on the use of force, and that has to be agreed to a great extent. That's why the Middle East is the way it is because the quote unquote government doesn't have a monopoly on the use of force. You have lots of different jihadist groups and militias that have that sort of and just say that they could use force when they feel like. So Anna and Cenk were going over something where they were talking about how, what is the likelihood you're going to own anything, if you're young, like no matter how hard you work, with taxation and this and that. And it was because they were citing this one dude who I think was from, Crazynomics, Cuckoo Economics or something. He was like one of these people who not exactly a guru, but he's one of those guys. You'll know who he is when you see him. McDuffie or something. But they were looking at an interview with him, and he was pointing out how he's like, no, the older people are doing fine. If you're 40 and younger, you're pretty much, you don't own shit. you're doomed. You will not be able to get enough assets at the present value of the dollar versus what would be the selling price for years and years, unless the price significantly drops very, very quickly for quite a number of asset classes. So he's pointing out how this is a real problem for that generation, for everybody. And so they were discussing how, and I chimed in the comments, was like, yeah, you guys don't understand. Men now have everything to gain by rebellion because they have nothing to lose, really. Lots and lots of men have nothing to lose anymore. And there's too many people who aren't taking that seriously. I could really tell there's some part of, especially the liberal part of society, that they don't take that serious. And it's really because of them not having kind of the idea of the independent man who lives on his own property someplace, that they understand that a little, but because they don't really believe that that's the normal state of what an American should be, that's not their starting place, their cosmology, for being an American. So it's a little weird. You end up having them there's these people that don't have things, so we should give them stuff, but that takes money, and so so it's this endless cycle of not really being able to figure it out, and and especially not going backwards in time and looking at how American charitable efforts ever functioned in society, and with charitable organizations and the old lodge systems and the old community groups and stuff. So there is really now this whole thing of like, you can't have order. You won't have a ceasefire with Israel and the Palestinians. You won't have. It's only Trump can deliver you some kind of order now. That's been made abundantly clear. That's the weirdest part about how this administration is kind of messing its own game up, is that they really are showing everybody like, no, this won't work itself out until you know who is back in office. Yeah, I mean, it's being made really abundantly clear to you by themselves, and it's hilarious. I just can't understand, like, is it the optics? Do they not have proper game plan? I mean, is there staff all over the place and high on fucking hover rocks? Like, what's going on? But handing it to Trump, just handing it to him. It's amazing.